Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Encyclopedia. Let's check it out. Alright, let's get to setup. What you're going to do, shuffle these cards, deal out the explorers right there at the top. You're going to shuffle these little time tokens and deal 6 out there. You're going to reveal one every round at the start of a round. You're going to shuffle through this animal deck, deal out cards according to the number of players on the board. It'll tell you how many players you'd have to put something on there. At the beginning of the game, there's going to be a draft starting with the last player and moving back to the first and kind of doing the snake draft, where they're going to be drafting 2 of these. Once everyone has drafted ones from the ones existing, you'll just refill those areas for the first round. Other than that, everyone's going to have their little player tokens start here. They're going to have their own little player board that has this worthless double-sided explorer that means nothing in the game. You start with your little star prestige track right here at the bottom. Once you hit the end, the arrow says, hey, go back and do it again. You can just keep scoring on this little track here. You're going to have all these cubes. You're going to have a 200 and 300 counter marker. You're going to have these 5 cube tokens that you'll also need on the board. And then you have this double-sided edge here on the back end of your board. You're going to start with the number 1 face up, which is going to tell you a few things about scoring. And this one is for the end of game. You're going to have all of your resources, seals, coin, and expedition tokens all here in areas. Someone will start with the first player and then you are ready to go. How this game starts, you're going to have a bag of die here, and everyone's going to be drafting 4 die unless one of the extras here at the top here says you get it. Oh, look, that says you get an extra die, so you'd get a 5th die in that case. So you draw some out of the bag, take them, roll them, and then you would place them right here on your player board in any order you want there. Now, there is some strategy here on this because in this game, people can take dice from their own player board or from someone else's. And if they take it from someone else's board, that person may get no reward. The player who takes this one, I would get 2 coins. If someone took that one, I would get 2 prestige points and any rewards that I would pass over. And this one, I would get 3 victory points. Now, of course, if someone takes from you, you're going to have to be taking from someone else. And this is going to happen from time to time as people are looking for pip values or specific colors on the die. First player is going to start off with 2 coin and 1 of these expedition tokens. Second place is going to, second and third are both going to get 3 coins, and a 4th player would get 4 coins and 1 expedition token to start. So anyway, that's your starting resources, and then you're ready to play. Now, the game is very simple. What you're doing, taking one of the die either from your board or a player's board and putting them anywhere here to take that action. So what are all the actions? The first one's up here. Depending on the pip value of the card, you'll get 1, 2, or 3 of these little expedition tokens. Expedition tokens, one of the things they can do is they can give you a +2 pip on your die. This is only when you're doing these little research actions here in the middle of the board. Any other time, they can also be flipped around like this to change the color of a die. So for example, if I wanted to go in this red section here, but I didn't have a red die, I just had a blue die, I could spin this expedition token face up like that and say, okay, this is now going to be a red, essentially a red one. Or if I was already in blue, I could flip this over and go, okay, that 4 is actually going to be a 6 now. So once you spin these, they're gone, but this is how you get more. Another way to increase the pip value of your die, and this is for any section you want to use it on, is through coin. The first player to play over here will put their die here and grab the first player token for the next round, and they'll also grab 5 coin. And this is not blocked off. Anyone can go there to the corner, put any numbered die there and get 5 coin. And again, coin is how you can increase the pip value of your die and get extra points or actions during the expedition phase. Down here, if you play any color of the die, you may grab that color type of animal. So for instance, if I put a blue here, I could grab either one of these cards. If I put a green, I could grab one of these cards. Yellow, I could grab this card. This is a little expansion into the game that comes with the base game, and it's basically extinct animals. This, all you need is that number to place down on the player board, and you can grab this one as well if you wanted to. And there's some different special abilities here. For instance, to do research, it would cost 5 to put a cube on one of these cards here, and you can only put 1 per expedition. But since he's brown colored, it doesn't matter where you go, you can always research him. Anyway, you put your die down there. Depending on the color, depends on what type of animal you can draft. Also, the pit value will also give you more prestige. Now on the prestige track, you're going to keep going up the prestige track in several different ways. There may be cards that help you out. There may be expeditions that can give you cards. People can be taking die to give you prestige. And the prestige will give you things like these little expedition tokens, explorers, which I haven't talked about yet, 3 coins. They can give you a free animal, or they can give you one of these seals. Seals are very powerful because they can give you a +5 on a die, or give you 5 coin, which is essentially the same thing. Or what I really love, at the end of the round, once everyone is gone, you may cash this seal in to go into the bag, pick a die of a color specific color you want, roll it, and then take that extra action. Well, that would suck. It was a 1. But anyway, that's what seals can do in the game. And of course, once you get the seal, you'll go back to the start again and try to climb up this track as many times as you can, getting these bonuses. Speaking of Explorer tokens, this is very easy here. To get one of these Explorers, you can place any die in there, just any die, doesn't matter about the value, and pick any one of them. However, if you pick one that matches the color die, you will also get an Expedition token as a bonus there, and it says that on the board. Now, these can do various things. Sometimes they're one-time actions, sometimes they're infinity. Whenever you take this action, I'll go up 2 prestige, or get more coin, or get more victory points, and they can help you out in the game. You can have up to 4 right here on your player board. Down here below is where we go to do a research action. Again, it depends on the die. The die must match the color and what it's in. Of course, you may always change the color of any of these dies using this token as a color changer. But once you've done that, you're going to get either 3, 2, or 1 prestige to move up the track. And if you're playing on these second, third, and fourth tracks, your pit value will increase by 1, 2, or 3. Now, why is that important? Because the number of your pit value determines how much time you have to research some of these animals. So, for example, let's say I took these 2. And what would I want to research? Well, I'd want to research a few of these things. And if you see on this little board here, it says, hey, whatever the number of the die is, so my die was a 5, I can upgrade or research anything from a level 3 and down. What does that mean? Well, that means if I wanted to go for this level 4 here, I could not research these last ones unless my die was a 6. Now, that could be easily done, right? I could just pay a coin and make that a 6, like so, and then I could study any of these features. But when you're studying these features, you are paying the value of the die here, okay? So for instance, if I'm going right here, just discovering the first one, like they're both type reptiles, what type of food they have, what type of environment they live in and stuff like that. Well, over here on the player board will tell you how much action points it costs to put cubes on these. So for instance, for number 1, it says, hey, it would be 2 each. So to put a cube in this section and this section, since they both match, you'll find one of these, you'll determine, I think it's determined by putting a cube on it like that, saying, hey, this is the one I'm researching. But you can research anything within the same area. So any green animal I could also research as well, or in this case, I really should be over in the green section. So let's say I did this, okay? I was right there. So then I could research any green animal there and any other animals outside of that who share the same traits as the main animal I'm looking at. So for example, this one can have veggie or meat. So can this one. Oh, so when I put a study on that one, I could also put a cube on this card as well. And you want a lot of synergy in your cards here because you want them to match up as much as you can. Of course, being from the same environment is great, but even if you have one like this one here who may match, 2 more spaces, this type of turtle here, doesn't live in the same area, lives in the blue area, lives in a grassland, but look, it shares 1, 2 little aspects of it. So I could also study, as I'm studying this creature, I could also learn more about this one as well. Very thematic. And again, if I wanted to upgrade anything on level 2, it would be 4 action points, that would be 7, that would be 2. And again, this is where you're throwing in a bunch of coin, a bunch of these compass token or expedition tokens, and you're trying to get that number up as high as you can so you can put as many cubes on as many cards, focusing on him and then sharing of any of the attributes on any of the other cards you have. And then once you've done that, your turn is over. Now, if you're putting cubes on any of the last 3 spaces, obviously you're getting 1, 3, or 6 victory points. So you would give yourself that on the track. So that's how you're studying these animals. Now, when you feel that you have enough, I'm just going to place these here. And let's say I had a few cubes here. So this is my main guy here, and I studied these 3 attributes. And this must have been over time, maybe. I did these 2 here, and maybe these 3 here. That's what I kind of studied on every one. Well, then later on another turn, if I was to take another die, and of course it would have to be of that same color. So if I didn't have a green, or I would have to use one of my little expedition tokens and change this blue to a green, place it here at the bottom of the board, right down below here, and this is where we're going to study those creatures using those attributes. Now again, I believe you place a cube on the card, so this is the one that I want to study. So anything that shares the same similarities with this turtle here is what I want to start putting down. So I'm entering into the encyclopedia knowledge about reptiles. So I take off this cube, and this cube because they're all reptiles. Put it in this section. As you see, I'm getting 2 victory points apiece for each cube I put in there. Then I'm also studying these meat/veggie eaters. Well, these 2 have the same cube, so they'll go over here, and that's for 3 victory points each. And then finally, he's an ocean-dwelling creature. So I'll use this one and put it over here for 5 victory points each. That's another 10. So as you can see, you really start building up points by studying these. After you're done, and this is very important here, you're scoring all these points, and anyone who matches the same continent as he does, so anyone who's both green, they would get folded over and put on the corner of your player board. In addition to this, anyone who wasn't part of the same color, they just get discarded and get put in the discard pile over to the side. What if he still had like a few more cubes left? Man, I've still got cubes on him. Well, once you've started removing cubes off of him, any other cubes you had left on him, just go back to your pile. They get wasted because once he's been entered into the encyclopedia, he is basically done right then and there. So that's the only tricky thing about the game, is how you score. Now, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing that for 6 rounds. And I should also mention at the book here, it also tells you how many victory points you'll get for putting each one there. By the way, even if they're from the same world. So for instance, these 2 were from the same world, that would be 2 more victory points because they're both green there. They both share that. So you wouldn't forget to add that up. But after 6 rounds, you'll take your final actions, you'll flip over this player board, and this is where the big points count, because then you're looking at majority in all of these sections. And so if I had 4 cubes in any one of these sections, I'd have 3 victory points. But let's say over a while I went heavy on in with ocean, and I have maybe 12. What does 12 get me? 12 gets me, yikes, 40 points. So you can really start hitting it hard if you start getting anything more than 12, just give an extra point. But also it says cubes plus this. So for instance, if I had anyone else, of that same color over there that I could utilize for that, I could get that bonus as well. These can give you bonus cards as well. Down here, any unused seals would be 4 victory points. Every 2 coins is a victory point. Every Explorer compass you have is worth, Explorer expedition token is worth 1 victory point, and you may have some victory points listed on some of your Explorers there, and of course whoever has the most victory points wins the game. Final thoughts, what do you think about the game? Wow! Okay, I should mention that at the end of every round you should wipe out all the cards and put out new Explorer and Animal cards. Forgot to mention that. But Encyclopedia was a game, when I saw it, I love the artwork, I love the concept, I love the theme. I was like, let's go for it. I was blown away. I think this game is just excellent. I like the decisions you have to make. It does not behoove you to study every single creature on every single item. Sure, you may get a little bonus points here and there for doing it, but the big bonus points come from entering stuff into the encyclopedia. So you're just trying to find synergy between your cards and cashing them in at the right time to put the most cubes on different areas. You don't want to put more than 12. If you did, you'd get an additional 5 points. But it's about getting a variety, but getting a majority in that variety, like having 7, 8. I like how as you get higher to 12, each cube you put down there just blows up your in-game score there. I mean, 40 points to get 12. Then we had someone do that, and I was winning the game until she caught up right behind me, and I barely won. But this game is so much fun that my gaming group bought, before we could even end the game, she had already gone online and bought it. She knew immediately after the first round, this is the game for me. And I mean, I have to agree, I love it too. It's too bad this company went out of business. I heard they were going to work on an expansion for this. I would have loved to have seen it. Hopefully someone will pick it up and do something with it. The only problem I have, and it is a bad problem, I don't like the little trays for all the tokens. That cardboard, maybe it's just my copy. It was split. It was bad. It was not cut right. It was just something awful. But that's just a minor thing. Everything else about the game I extremely love. That you're changing the color of the die, trying to get, you know, funding, which is the money, and trying to get expedition tokens, so you can have this huge expedition and this huge move, and have that synergy between the cards to place as many cubes as you can, and then hurry up and get that into the encyclopedia as fast as you can. Stealing people's, setting up your die on your own player board is an action too, because if I go first, I'm going to use that big die first. So I'll just put that in the X spot because I know I'm going to use that big die first. I don't have to worry about someone stealing it. Then if they want something, like maybe I'm the only one that grabbed a purple, well, I'm going to put that in a spot where I know someone may want purple because I see he wants to publish and he wants that purple die. He didn't want to use one of his expedition tokens to do a change color. He wants that as a +2. And I just love the idea of that the color and pit value matter. Not on every area, but on a lot of them. And moves can go really fast. This game goes really fast too. I should mention that as well. So excellent stuff. I love it all around. It's still out for sale out there for really cheap. Go get it. Encyclopedia, excellent game. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until next time, game on!